Late and Cassette Podcast. Today we're covering Mortal Kombat Annihilation. The storyline for Annihilation is largely adapted from Mortal Kombat 3. Filming began in early 1996 at Harry's Mountain on the island of Anglesey, I guess that's how you pronounce it, off the coast of Wales. They also filmed in London, Jordan, and Thailand. Though the story picks up where the first movie ended, only two actors returned, Robin Shou as Liu Kang and Talisa Soto as Katana. Annihilation was released on November 21st, 1997. It took in $60 million opening weekend at the box office and won the number one spot. It only ended up making $51.3 million against a $30 million budget. It was directed by John Leonetti, who has done a lot of work as a cinematographer and collaborated with James Wan. Lawrence Kasanoff also returned to produce. Now I'm going to kick it over to my cousin PK for some more information. Take it away, PK.
All right, Mark. Thanks for having me again. Now, Mortal Kombat Annihilation is everything wrong whenever it comes to fan service. Now, let's rewind back. October, we'll just say 1997 in general, is another big year like 1995 was, where we got a lot of Mortal Kombat universe stuff. Now, we get two titles that year. We get Mortal Kombat Mythology Sub-Zero. It's a prequel to Mortal Kombat 1 for the Genesis Super Nintendo. Basically tells you a little more backstory about Sub-Zero, why he's participating in the tournament, and then gives us introduction to characters that will come later in the games, Shinnok and Quan Chi. We get Mortal Kombat 4. Mortal Kombat 4 is the first Mortal Kombat game to go full 3D. Mortal Kombat to drop the real actors portraying the fighters in the game, and it's the last Mortal Kombat to be in arcade cabinets. It introduces a lot of throwaway characters that aren't really mentioned in any other game or movie after this, but it shows Reptile's first steps at de-evolution as he starts to turn less human and more reptilian, and it also lets us play as the boss character from the very beginning, Quan Chi, as we can play as him. It's the first time you've ever been able to play as an introduction to a boss character to play as him from the start of the beginning. And then November, we get this shit stain of a movie that's basically, like I said, taking fan service and cashing in just to make some quick money.
Yeah, I will be referring to you a lot for that. So whenever you, when we're going through the plot, just as we did before, if you have anything you want to say, go ahead and just jump on in.
Oh, I will, because I have a lot of answered questions with this movie.
We get the same opening with the theme song and New Line logo. We then get a small recap of the last movie, and then an electrical storm that rains ninjas.
I guess it's Outworld taking over Earthrealm, like in Mortal Kombat 3, as you said. It takes a lot of liberty from Mortal Kombat 3, but it's like they're just appearing, and they're not even coming out of the sky. They're just appearing on screen that just shows the sky in the background.
Yeah, it was very, and right away the CG is shit.
Yeah, it kicks right off with a shitstorm.
The first movie was an $18 million budget. The CG in it wasn't the best. Some of it was all right. Most of it was not so good. This movie had a $30 million budget. $12 million more bucks.
And it looks horrible when you compare it. I mean, I would prefer the CG from the first movie compared to this.
This crap. This is awful.
Yeah. It's going to be hard to get through this movie, but we're going to do it.
Shao Kahn appears in some bad Triple H WrestleMania cosplay 10 years too early and threatens to destroy Earth.
His outfit, even the mask, every time he talks, just this Shao Kahn mask and the person who played, it's just bad from the very beginning.
Triple H wore something almost exactly like that a few years ago at WrestleMania, and I thought it was stupid then. It looks okay on Shao Kahn, but it looks kind of hokey, you know. I get it's part of the lore and stuff, but I'd much rather his face be half a skull, I guess.
Yeah, and you know what? He's human. I have a problem with Shao Kahn being human. He's from a different world. Why the hell is he human?
And I hate the new Raiden. He has almost a game show host voice instead of the quiet, menacing voice.
You'll be in charge of the billions of people. Yeah, I'm not a big fan. What is his name? James Remar?
The new Raiden?
Yeah, I think it's James Remar or Radar. Or I don't know. James Remar. I'm not a fan. Christopher Lambert wasn't the best portrayal of Raiden, but I would definitely prefer him over this guy.
Let me see. I'm looking it up. There's no. We want to get it right here. If we're gonna come at a guy, we might as well fucking give us an 8.
And another thing about Raiden, whenever he first what's that?
James Remar.
And whenever they're having their little squabble at the very beginning, you see Raiden, he doesn't do like his little lunge forward, Hamehameha attack. And they actually have the sound effect from the game in the movie, which threw me off even as a kid. I'm like, okay, that's what is going on here?
Another little bitch I have, it's just something I just thought of. We at least got 1 or 2 shots of Raiden with the fucking goofy ass hat in the first one. Nothing with that this time.
Yeah, you're right. He didn't have his hat on once in the second movie. And
it looks like he got a change of clothes, compared to the last movie.
Oh, boy. He has... his outfits all around in this movie are ridiculously horrible.
For sure. Let me see here. When they question why the portal was open after the victory over Sung, Raiden says, "What was closed can be reopened." Can you explain this shit?
So basically, we're going into like a Terminator 3 scenario. So in Terminator 2, they prevented Judgment Day, and then in Terminator 3, they find out that Judgment Day is inevitable. Okay, so we have this tournament so we can protect our realm, but the tournament actually doesn't matter because...
Now, in the last podcast, I said I had a bitch about if they win the tournament, then they have to leave. This is the bitch. This essentially renders the whole first movie pointless. What the fuck was the point of the tournament?
It basically renders all tournaments previous to that one. The 9 that they did where they won in a row. The Mortal Kombat technically does not matter.
Threw it all away. That was just a lazy. Well, it can be closed, can be reopened. Oh, cool. Thanks.
Oh, so basically they opened the door and they walked in.
Okay, thanks, dickhead. Princess Katana's mother appears and threatens to kill her. Raiden and Khan have a fight, and Khan kills Johnny Cage when he attempts to save Sonya. Raiden offers himself in Johnny's place, and then Khan goes, yeah, fuck it, and kills Johnny Cage anyway. Now, Johnny has his sunglasses here, but Goro broke his sunglasses in the first movie. I guess he has spare pairs.
Oh, that's true, because it's supposed to take place right after the first movie. That's a good point.
Yeah, it's, continuity wasn't a thing in the 90s. From doing the Batman movies, watching all 4 of them back to back in a relatively short amount of time, I just figured out that in the 80s and 90s, they just said, yeah, you know what, fuck continuity, no one cares.
It's a good point. Another thing I don't like, Sindel's eyes are just regular. They're just regular eyes. In the game, Sindel had white eyes, like Scorpion.
Oh, okay, yeah, well, that makes sense. Yeah, maybe they couldn't afford the contact lenses.
I mean, even borrow them from Scorpion's old person. Like, why didn't you even make an attempt? And her acting is horrible. Too bad you die. All
the acting in this movie is fucking awful.
Even Katana didn't even advance in her character at all in this movie. Katana's acting just went from, like in the first movie, she has her spots. She says what she needs to say, and then in this movie, she doesn't expand on it at all. It just seems like she didn't try either. She was
just cashing that check. Raiden, Sonya, Katana, and Kang flee while they are approached by ninjas. After they escape, Raiden explains that since the portals open, Earth will begin to merge with Outworld. Raiden also believes if he reunites Katana with her mother, the portals will close and her soul will be at peace. Is there any precedence for this in the game?
I don't know where they pulled this idea out of their ass. Like, I don't know why that would be the reason why the portal will close. The portal will close when Shao Kahn dies and his reign stops. That's basically how it ended in the video game. You beat Shao Kahn, you save Earthrealm. This whole Katana Sindel bullshit.
They're
No,
trying to add
no.
emotional weight to a movie that doesn't fucking need it.
And I will say this movie tries to build a story. This movie takes too much and doesn't it gives you too much and doesn't explain any of it. And the stuff that it does try to explain doesn't need explained.
Right. Yeah, this movie, there were a few times I thought I missed something, and I rewound it to see if maybe I zoned out or tuned out for a minute to see if, like that, I rewound it a little bit to see, if there was any precedent or if they said her mother said something, but no, Raiden just says that in his game show host voice.
It is what it is. Back to you.
We get a new plot device called, I believe, Velospheres.
Who the fuck made these things? Who made these things?
Someone with too much time on their hands.
Like, it takes the heat from the core of the earth and it spins these balls through these giant tunnels at breakneck speed.
Yeah,
What?
with shitty CGI. Once again, CGI is going to be a big theme in this podcast. In this specific one.
Oh God, it's just bad. It's bad from start to finish.
Yeah. Now, this thing can take you any place on Earth in hours. So, I guess it is what it is.
It's a bullet train.
Raiden sends Liu Kang and Katana to find Nightwolf, while Raiden sends Sonya to find her special forces partner Jax. And then a predator-looking asshole shows up to cockblock Kang just as he and Katana are about to kiss. Katana fights some ninjas while Kang fights the predator-looking son of a bitch. Sub-Zero shows up despite having died in the first one to save Kang and Katana. Sub-Zero reveals that it was his older brother that was killed, and he agrees to help Kang and Katana. Scorpion shows back up and fights Sub-Zero. After distracting Liu Kang, Scorpion abducts Katana and disappears, and Sub-Zero urges Kang to find Nightwolf.
I have a lot of problems with this one. I have a lot of problems and I have a lot of acceptance. Okay, this is my biggest gripe with this movie. It throws so many characters at you that if you're not a fan of Mortal Kombat, you don't know who the fuck any of these people are, because the black robot, the gray robot that Liu Kang is fighting is Smoke. He is part of the Lin Kuei, but he's part of the Lin Kuei Cyber Initiative, which basically turns all of their Lin Kuei ninjas into robots. Now, whenever they're getting into the robots at this time, Sub-Zero wasn't with the cybernetic movement, so he decided to leave the Lin Kuei, which is why Sub-Zero does not have the ninja costume in Mortal Kombat 3. Now, with this said, Smoke does not, I'm nitpicking at this point, but Smoke doesn't shoot rockets. He has a hook come out of his chest. So this Smoke in the movie shoots rockets. And Sub-Zero, how is he sliding down that little ice line that he has? Like, it honestly looks like he has it wedged in between his ass cheeks and he's just gliding it down. Like, what is going on?
Yeah, I could have done without this whole... If they're going to make it a direct sequel, I could have done without the Sub-Zero and Scorpion shit.
But I will say that is canon. The game that is Sub-Zero as his older brother, because in the first movie, his name is Bihan. His name is synonymous with the first Sub-Zero. In the second game, that's Kuai Liang. His old code name before he took on Sub-Zero was actually Tundra. But then when his brother died, he took on the mask of Sub-Zero. Now, Bihan, who was the first Sub-Zero, actually comes back as Noob Saibot in the second and the third game.
Oh, okay. Well, if they could have explained it a little bit more, but if you're not I'm a casual Mortal Kombat fan. I've had the games, I've played the games, I'll still play the games, but I don't know that much about mythology. And chances are people are going to know less unless they're, a fan of it. So they could explain it a little more.
Exactly what I was saying before. It throws too much at you and doesn't explain anything.
Right.
So Scorpion has 2 harpoons coming out of each hand now. What the fuck?
Well, fuck continuity.
And right as he grabs Katana and he bails out, he screams, "Suckers."
Yeah.
Why? Just why?
I don't know. 1997, I guess.
I guess. Oh, God. No, just keep Scorpion out if you're going to butcher him that bad.
But we do see Sonya show up to save Jax from robots that show up to blow shit up. Sonya...
Again, Cyrax is right there. If you don't know the game, that yellow ninja that comes in, the yellow cybernetic ninja, it's Cyrax. You're not going to know that because the movie doesn't tell you that.
Right. We just get these robots that show up, and it's like, oh, well, I didn't know that robots fought in Mortal Kombat. Cool.
And Jax is the only thing that saves this movie for me. His quips and his quick one-liners. Jax kind of saves this movie. It's not enough, but it's still humorous to listen to Jax talk.
Yeah, he's probably the best out of any of the characters. That's for sure. Sonya takes on ninjas while Jax handles the robot. Sonya and Jax win by setting the robot on fire and it self-destructs. Shao Kahn appoints Queen Sindel as his new general after his other general failed to kill the mortals, failed to kill our heroes.
Specifically, Cabal and Stryker. He said that they basically imprisoned them. And he explains it as 2 of Earthrealm's best warriors. I am sorry, but if Stryker is one of Earthrealm's best warriors, if you've ever played the game, you know that like Stryker is this like maybe mid to older 30s with a beer gut like a traffic cop. If he's one of our Earthrealm's best, we're fucked. Just give up now. And then he hits the sergeant or the lieutenant that failed him is Rain. And Rain was one of my favorite characters in Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, and he gets a total screen time of less than like 55 seconds.
Oh, that's amazing. They throw a lot of characters at you, but none of them really fucking matter, basically.
Exactly. And I don't think it even... he does mention that it's Rain, but literally at the beginning when they're invading Earthrealm and right before he got punched into the fire pit by Shao Kahn, literally less than a minute total screen time.
Fucking awful. Kang walks through the desert to find Nightwolf, eventually finding him in wolf form when he appears at his camp. Nightwolf tells him he has to pass 3 tests, the first of which is courage. And I'm a little foggy on the other 2 because I don't think they ever got explained. And Nightwolf puts him to sleep so he can find the power inside him. Hopefully Nightwolf isn't talking about him being inside Liu Kang. You never know.
You never know with this movie. And he puts him to sleep by throwing an axe at his face.
Right.
What?
Here, take a nap.
Yeah, just throws an axe at Liu Kang's face. Total disregard for any, dismemberment just here. And then, like, while Liu Kang's in that little dream state, you hear Nightwolf talking and chanting by his little fireplace. Find your animality.
Right.
Get the fuck out of here.
Kang awakes in snow, looking at a scantily clad woman calling herself Jade.
Prostitute Jade.
Yeah, basically. He tells her he loves someone else and refuses her advances. When suddenly he wakes up and starts fighting with her as she is one of Khan's warriors. After he defeats her, she tells him he passed the test. She's part of Nightwolf's tests. And takes him to the Temple of the Elder Gods. We find out that Khan intends to use katana as bait to lure Liu. Go ahead.
There you go. We have the first test is courage, and then the second test is infidelity.
Okay, yeah, but I'll come back to it. Sonya is jumped, but she defeats the attacker. Then a CGI-looking thing is about to attack her when Jax beats it down and kills it. In this scene, Jax and Sonya are having a little bit of a partner spat about trust and bullshit.
And Jax is whooping the shit out of this ugly dragon. I don't even know what it's supposed to be. Never seen it before in any of the games, so I don't know what they were portraying it as. But
something that a computer programmer got high as fuck and thought it would be cool to see.
Seriously, like it shows no relevance to the games and shouldn't have been in the movie.
Raiden asks the Elder Gods why they allowed this. You know, the merger of the realms. And they basically just say they don't give a fuck.
Elder Gods in this movie piss me off. Okay, so look. Elder Gods will say, yeah, we'll allow Shao Kahn to invade Earthrealm, and we're going to stand aside and, you know, what the hell is the point of Mortal Kombat then? Again, what the hell is the point of Mortal Kombat if the Elder Gods are going to let this happen?
Right. The Elder Gods say a bunch of shit that ends with them asking Raiden if he would give up his immortality. But then we cut to Sonya, Jax, Liu, and Jade, and they all meet back up as Kahn's army approaches. Raiden shows up with a new haircut and says some shit.
Why does Raiden look like Discount Fit Finley when he becomes a participant in the fight?
Yeah, pretty much. And Raiden had white hair, but all of a sudden now with his haircut, he has blonde hair. Did he get some highlights or some color put in that shit?
I was about to say, yeah, he went to the stylist and you're like, I'm looking a little gray. You gotta.
It's a new look. It's a new do. Sure it is. Basically, he probably just didn't feel like wearing the wig the rest of the movie, but
probably he's like, all right, look, I gotta lose this shit. It's getting itchy. You're not paying me enough.
I guess his immortality is connected to his long hair.
I guess.
Cut the hair, lose the immortality, whatever. Kahn gives the order to destroy everything, and Sindel lets out a shriek and some cliffs fall apart. Raiden opens a portal, and they end up between realms, and they decide to go rescue Katana. Kahn's father threatens to kill him if he fails to capture and kill our heroes again.
I'm glad you brought this up, because at the start of this movie, Shao Kahn has this moment where he's like, Father, we are taking over Earthrealm, and it is glorious! Who the fuck is Shao Kahn's father? I know we're going to get into it, but nobody's ever mentioned Shao Kahn's father up until this point, so I was like, who the hell is this guy?
Shao Kahn is supposed to be the emperor, right?
Yeah, he's supposed to be the emperor of Outworld, and his dad is an elder god. Like I said, we're going to get to it, but
like, that's not a conflict of interest.
I've never seen Shao Kahn like having to answer to somebody. Like, Shao Kahn is the man above all other men. So why is he talking to this elder god? Like, it's very weird why this is happening. And may I also mention that Shao Kahn is like 8-9 feet tall in the video game, and his dad's taller than him. Shao Kahn's like an easy 5'8" in this fucking game.
Yeah, it is weird to have how Shao Kahn's supposed to be this warrior, this great warrior, and his dad dwarfs him.
Yeah, like, I don't believe you. That's just it. I don't believe you.
Yeah, it's definitely not what I was expecting. I mean, I did see this movie once a long time ago when I was a kid, and I don't remember much of it. And maybe it's because I blocked it out.
If you were smart, you did.
Then we get some shitty CGI ninjas fight everyone besides Liu Kang, who goes to rescue Katana. Kahn gives a rah-rah speech about the two realms merging, and then cut to CGI of the Eiffel Tower showing up in Outworld. Liu Kang shows up to rescue Katana, but they are ambushed. But Liu Kang wins after knocking the warrior in a fiery pit. Shiva shows up, but she's crushed by the hanging cage Katana was imprisoned in.
Shiva has a total screen time of less than 3 minutes.
She's a total waste in this movie.
Like, she is the Goro of Annihilation, and you don't even let her fight. You don't even have a fight with her in it. She's just a general who gets smashed by a cage. And then I kind of want to take a step backwards, because whenever that fight is going on where everybody's taking on different fighters, we have Raiden, who's fighting 3 different reptiles. Yeah. And the people didn't even care that you didn't even know that it wasn't actually James Remar as a Raiden while he's fighting, because you see the cutscenes where it's actually James's face, and then whenever the martial arts is going on, the kicking, the jumping, he goes from James Remar to like Dolph Lundgren's nephew, and it is easily noticeable. Like they didn't even try to hide it.
No, they made this movie. It's hard to say they made it on the cheap because it has a $30 million budget, but it's just like they didn't give a fuck.
A $30 million budget. This looks like somebody that used to make Star Trek episodes made this movie.
Yeah, and it's... We'll get into it at the end. I'll go into more detail.
And then that Baraka that Liu Kang was fighting outside of... That's supposed to be Baraka. This chubby-faced, like 4'9" dude who's protecting Katana is supposed to be Baraka. Oh, another disappointment. Another fucking disappointment.
It's like, we'll just throw all these characters in and not give a fuck. They'll love it.
And again, it doesn't explain who he is. Doesn't give him a name. Just like the fight with Sonya and Melina whenever they're fighting in the mud pit. First of all, why are they fighting in the mud pit? That's just like adult male fan service right there. Okay, we're going to give you this bout in a mud pit. But they don't even tell you it's Melina.
No. I had to look up a lot of names of the people at the end that they were fighting. I didn't know, when they have the final showdown, but we will get to that. Katana attempts to reach her mother, but she proves to be an uber bitch. And, basically like, well, fuck you, don't like you. Never loved you, you're a little bitch, fuck off.
Cunt. Raging cunt. I hate Sindel in this movie. All around.
I mean, if she was a good actress, it might have been a little bit, like, it might have been the good kind of hate, as opposed to just, get the fuck off my screen.
Yeah, like, you're just clogging my ear holes with your bullshit. Like, I don't need to be here.
Right. But here's another twist. It turns out Jade was working for Khan the whole time.
Dun, dun, dun.
Which is why I kind of scoffed when he said the second test was infidelity. I guess she could pose as one of Night Wolf's tests, but it doesn't make any sense to me.
That's a good point. I never really thought about that, how she's part of Night Wolf's test, but she's like a triple agent.
Yeah, because I thought she was evil when she first appeared, and then they did the whole thing, they did the whole fight, and she's like, oh, you passed the test. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then, no, it's hard to keep up with.
It is hard to keep up with, and I know Jade is... I can't remember specifically when it takes canon into the story, but Jade was actually one of Katana's bodyguards.
Oh, okay.
So she was a good guy, but in this one they portrayed her as a bad guy. So I don't know the continuity on when she became a bodyguard, if she always was, but I always thought she was on Katana's side.
Yeah, well, she was a bad guy in this movie for whatever reason. I guess they just needed more to stack the odds against our heroes more so than the last movie.
More so, yeah, I guess.
After this, it is revealed that Raiden gave up his immortality to help the mortals. Raiden reveals his father is an elder god and Khan is his brother.
This I cannot forgive. I can't. Raiden and Shao Kahn are brothers. Okay, so basically, here's how it is. So Raiden and Shao Kahn are brothers, and their father's an elder god, and then he says, you guys have to fight each other and kill the other one to get my throne. So Raiden beats Shao Kahn, and he doesn't kill him because he's his brother and he loves him, and this is bullshit. And then Raiden says basically he's not going to help them this time. Shao Kahn's about to kill Earthrealm that Raiden is the sole protector of. And he says, nope, I can't kill him because Shao Kahn is family. So good luck, guys. I'll pray for you.
Yeah. Basically, I did think that
What the fuck is this movie?
I'll pray for you. Oh, thanks, bro.
Yeah, I'll pray for you. Bye.
Good luck. I got to go to a game show audition. I fucking hate this fucking Raiden.
Oh, I know. He fucks me over with this Raiden. I hate him too.
Khan has a CGI character kill Jade and orders Sindel to assemble the army for one last effort from Raiden. Raiden says he won't kill Khan, and it's up to Liu and the gang. He says he will pray for them as he leaves. Raiden confronts Khan and their father. Raiden does show back up. Khan then kills Raiden. The team pair off with Katana taking on her mother, Liu taking on Khan, while Sonya and Jax take the other two generals. Motaro? Is that how you pronounce it?
Motaro, the half Centaurian, half human. And Sonya Blade is taking on the Red Ninja, which is Ermac. And Ermac is kind of like a representation almost as Shang Tsung. He is a body that is basically a prison for a shitload of dead souls.
Oh, okay.
And he fights on behalf of whoever the leader is, which in this case would be Shao Kahn.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense.
And what's interesting about the Ermac fight with Sonya Blade is going back to what I said before about Noob Saibot. During that fight, Ermac splits into two. He stays as the red ninja, but then there's an all-black ninja that he basically separates from. My interpretation for that would be Noob Saibot, because Noob Saibot was all black. He's basically a demon shadow. And Noob Saibot, that technically means that both Sub-Zeros were in this movie, because Noob Saibot is Bi-Han, the older brother of Kuai Liang, who is the new Sub-Zero.
Oh, well, that is a cool little bit of trivia. How'd you say it? Motaro? Motaro rips one of Jack's robot arms off, and Jax rips the other one off because he believes in himself now or some shit. He defeats Motaro and helps Sonya with a ninja that can multiply. So that's, the one you were talking about.
I'm sorry, Sonya Blade is not defeating Ermac. He's not defeating Ermac. Even with Jax's help, those two are dead. I know I'm picking at straws here, but Ermac is the body of many, and Sonya is just one person. Sonya Blade is not taking down Ermac. It's not gonna. They didn't know their source material. Ermac should have had a better portrayal, and he should have had a good fight.
Yeah, this is not good. Katana does defeat her mother. Liu Kang shapeshifts into a PlayStation 1 character. Khan shifts as well to a multi-headed dragon.
This is where the movie takes a shitty turn, because they try to incorporate too much. Like, they do the animality. So basically it went from a Mortal Kombat fighting movie to a monster movie with Liu Dragon and Hydra.
Right. This is a weird aside, but do you remember the Animorphs books?
I had a bunch of them. I don't remember too much about them, though.
I was wondering, because I was talking to my wife the other day about them. She don't fucking remember them, but I remember them shits being everywhere.
I had quite a few of those books, but to be honest, I can't tell you exactly what happened in them.
Yeah, me neither. It's just a weird aside. It just made me think of that. The other Elder Gods stop Khan's father from killing Kang. Cue the Mortal Kombat theme.
Gave me chills. I will say this part of the movie gave me chills, probably because it was almost over. but the second it was Liu Kang versus Shao Kahn, like, this is what we came to see. This is what I want to see.
2 hours of just that, it might have been a little better.
You would think.
Kang defeats Khan. Khan and his father then die, I guess.
It's like his dad.
It looks like he goes into the Phantom Zone, like at the end of Superman 2.
He folds into a piece of paper and just disappears.
Yeah, it's fucking okay, whatever. Things return to normal. The Elder Gods then resurrect Raiden and offer him a spot that his father occupied. He tells them he will be watching as credits begin to roll. Positives, the Mortal Kombat scene.
Here's my big issue with the final scene of that movie. It says, going back to what I said at the very beginning, Shinnok is the father of Shao Kahn and Liu Kang. That guy in the black robe from the very beginning that looks like Emperor Palpatine is fucking Shinnok. Are you fucking with me? Not only did you poorly portray Shinnok, you made him the father of Raiden and Shao Kahn. this movie from start to finish is just unforgivable.
I think what they were going for is a family, because, you know, they have Raiden and Khan and the father, and they have the girl, Katana, and her mother, and Raiden says at the end, "Oh, you're family now, so you gotta fucking watch out for each other. I'll be watching, party hard," and he fucking takes... They were going for a family theme, but...
It's dumb, though. Like, everybody's family. Like, Katana and Sindel, fucking Liu Kang, Sonya, and Jax, they're supposedly family now. Shao Kahn, Raiden, and Shinnok. No, that's not... No. Okay, look. If you're going to do it, make Shinnok basically an influencer to Shao Kahn. Don't make him his fucking dad.
Right. And another a little beef I have with the movie is Sonya spends the whole movie mourning Johnny Cage when she couldn't fucking stand him in the last movie. I can still be in, you know, like, oh, he died, that sucks, even though I didn't like, you know, there's people that have died that I didn't like, where I'm like, oh, I didn't like the prick, but I'm sorry you died. You know what I mean?
You know, at the end of the first movie, though, like, they got arms around each other's necks, like, they're strolling, they're happy, they're about to get their fuck on whenever they go to the hotel after they leave. But then, what I didn't notice, it actually took me, how long has this movie been out? Like 22 years? It took me 22 years to realize that Johnny Cage in the last movie.
Yeah, it's a different guy.
It looks just like him, though, and that's the poor video quality, because at the very beginning, the movie is so dark that you almost can't tell there's a difference.
This movie looks like what the fuck did they spend the $30 million on? Cocaine?
I know, like, they had to have in order to do what they did to this movie. They've done so much wrong with this movie. Like I said, not giving, like, introducing characters and not telling you who the fuck they are.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, the poor CGI. Like, they definitely took this money and blew it elsewhere.
Oh, for sure. Now, if you do that with a superhero movie nowadays, like a Batman movie or something, if you just drop characters in and you're like, go, most of the audience is probably going to know. You're still going to have some who doesn't. And Mortal Kombat was a huge video game audience, but how much crossover did you get from the general public? I don't know, but...
And I guarantee that, you know, after the first initial success of the first movie, there's going to be a lot of people that, you know, are trying to introduce their friends to this new genre. You know, if you don't know anything about Mortal Kombat, well, okay, come see the movie with me. And then you go and see Annihilation with them. You're constantly going to have your friend go, "Who's that? Who's that? What's he doing? What's that?" Like, it doesn't give any newcomers the ability to jump on and go, okay, I'm down with this movie, because it doesn't explain jack shit.
Right. Now, my negatives I have here: CGI, the storytelling, bad acting, and basically everything.
Yeah, I will agree. Everything from start to finish, this movie is an abomination and just a tragedy to see.
It looks like it should have been on the Sci-Fi Channel.
I honestly think it was. It's like, there's nothing redeeming about this movie. It looks like a made-for-TV movie.
Yeah, it's... I don't know. It's just... It's awful. It's a fucking awful movie.
It's really awful. But I will say one thing. They learned from their mistakes. They wanted to pump out a sequel after that, basically make it a trilogy. But after the bombing of the sales, they scrapped it, which was probably a good idea.
Yeah, I did see that they did you know, we're going to do a sequel, and they did abort it. But I got a thumbs down for this movie. How about you?
I'm double thumbs down.
Yeah, but we did get, you know, try and pick it up here at the end, lighten the mood a little bit. We'll get a little bit of an uptick. I did read an article online that looks like James Wan is going to be involved in the Mortal Kombat reboot. What are your thoughts?
I can't wait. You know, it's been a long time coming. I've heard a lot of... There's always rumors about your favorite, you know, video game turning into a movie. Mortal Kombat's definitely one of those games that needs the person with the right touch. Now, going back to the first movie, I feel the first movie was ahead of its time, because it took more of a realistic aspect, you know, didn't put all the special moves and craziness into it like they did the second movie. That's where they went wrong. And, that's what basically movies now are trying to do. They're making it more origin relatable as if it were real life kind of situations. I feel like Mortal Kombat 1 hits that mark for 1995.
It's kind of like the Dark Knight effect. Make it more realistic, bring it back down to earth. It doesn't have to be dark. Like, I think a Mortal Kombat movie, we should have the fun, cartoonish type of violence, but I don't think it has to be, dark.
If I'm going to guess, they're going to go the dark route. If I'm going to guess, just because I don't think they want to do the silliness, I don't think people would expect it to be silly. It's going to be more realistic. I feel it's going to be more like the 1995 version where there's not a lot of special moves, but there's a lot of fighting and there's a lot of realistic take on some characters.
Right. It doesn't have to be like silly. Like the 1995 movie, I don't think is silly, but I think it has a fun tone. I think it's a better movie, obviously, than the second one, but there's some serious moments, but they're making a video game. They know what they're making, and it seems like they're having fun. I guess they didn't have too much fun because only 2 of the actors came back, but
it can be serious and it can also be funny as well. If you put the funniness of Jax and Johnny Cage from the first 2 movies into a more serious tone like Goro and Shang Tsung were in the first movie, I think you could be onto something.
Yeah, I know it would be cool to get Jax and Johnny Cage in a movie together interacting. Maybe, Jax or, you get the dynamic where Cage is jealous of Jax because it's her partner, and, Jax is like, I'm cool, bro, whatever. Just stuff like that. It could make for some funny moments, I think.
I think if you take the first 2 original games, Mortal Kombat 1, Mortal Kombat 2, take a majority of the characters, maybe not them all, but get a majority of them, give them a little bit of a story. Just don't throw them in there just for fan service. Give us some structure, give us a good story, and you could have a multi-million-dollar blockbuster here.
Yeah, definitely. And look, the time's right for it. The Mortal Kombat 11 game, it's already a hit.
It was a hit. There's a little bit of scrutiny with it. There's the gaming community is not like it was back in the 90s. It's a different era now. But Mortal Kombat 11, in my eyes, is a huge hit. So I think a movie following up this video game and doing it right would be a huge financial success for Warner Brothers and NetherRealm.
Yes, and the thing I like, just to finish up on the 2 previous movies. The first movie, it has a very simple plot. You know what the characters' motivations are, why they're going to do what they're going, why they're going to fight in the tournament. It's simple. And I did read where some people said, oh, it's overly simple. I don't think so. I think it's fine. Because if you try to put too much plot in, you get this shit show that was Annihilation.
I totally agree with you. It doesn't need to be overly intricate. Like, it doesn't need to have a backstory with twists and turns at every corner. They're there to fight to save Earthrealm. Go.
Yes.
Like that's all you need.
Exactly. That is all you need. I mean, no need to overdo it, overthink it, overanalyze it. Put so much story in there that you don't know what the fuck's going on.
And that's where Annihilation went wrong. They had too many characters with not enough story to them, not enough structure. It was just fan service gone wrong.
Yes, and it's no wonder that they never ended up making another movie. I know that they did have, and a little bit of the peripheral Mortal Kombat media. They did have a TV miniseries, I believe it was, and they had, a couple animated series on TV. I do remember watching one of the cartoons in about 97, 98-ish, so whichever one that happened to be.
I don't remember too much of the cartoon. I know it wasn't on too long. Like, maybe it only had a season run. But it did have a TV show. I don't think it was Legacy. I think it was Conquest. Mortal Kombat Conquest. Maybe we'll revisit that and go into a different podcast for that story. But there's a lot of Mortal Kombat lore. And I think with Warner Brothers now at the helm of the Mortal Kombat name, the brand, I think we could get something that, is what every Mortal Kombat fan is waiting for, just that over-the-top movie, what we want.
Are you sure? Because I like them, but not a lot of people like the DC movies.
You know what? If you just get the right director, I think you just get the right director. If you get the correct script, if you get the script and the director down, you'll have a fantastic movie. I feel like we're getting a little off subject here with the DC. We can go into this, but just to say what I feel about DC, I love my Batmans. I love my Wonder Womans. I love my Green Lanterns. I feel like DC took a little too long. Marvel was paving the way. Okay, all of these stories are going to interject. We're going to make them all connect. I feel like DC at this point is playing catch up to the point where they have to just force these movies out as fast as they can to stay relevant.
Right, and that's what Mortal Kombat doesn't have to do. They redo these movies, or they do the reboot. They can just build the world nice and slow. They don't need to rush it, and all your characters are pretty much, they're just spread out over games. I mean, Jax didn't appear to the second game?
I believe he was mentioned in the first game. I'd have to double check, but his grand appearance was in the second game. Yes.
So you get your core character. People know the Sub-Zeros, the Scorpions, and Liu Kang. Liu Kang was always my favorite to fight with because he had that sweet fucking bicycle kick.
Oh my God, hold a button down for 5 seconds, let go, and he takes off like a fucking rocket through the sky with his...
He was the best to fight with.
To be honest, I think he's the only... I believe I beat Shao Kahn with Sub-Zero once, but Liu Kang was the only person that I could beat Mortal Kombat with.
Does it ever explain why Liu Kang's the chosen one, or he just is?
If we're going to go to a little bit of lore, I believe it's just because Liu Kang is basically just a representation of Bruce Lee.
Right.
A lot of Bruce Lee was taken into making Liu Kang, and actually a lot of the moves from the game were a lot of Bruce Lee's movies or takes on what happened in his movies. But I feel that, it what's that movie that Bruce Lee came out with? Oh, God, what's it called? I think it's Enter the Dragon. It's basically the same premise as Mortal Kombat. It's fighters enter a tournament, and it's a fight. That's basically what Mortal Kombat is.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense then.
And basically, if we're doing that way, then Bruce Lee being Liu Kang, he's going to be the chosen one.
Well, yeah, okay. That's enough explanation for me. But, that works for me. As we wind down here, have you beat the Mortal Kombat game? The new one?
Yes, actually. The games nowadays, I guess you could say they take, in order to achieve completing the game, in quotes, air quotes, I played on PlayStation 4, so they have trophies. I did get the Platinum Trophy for Mortal Kombat 11. If you haven't played it, if you know a buddy that has it, go over to him. It's a fun game. It's easy to pick up. It's a little technical, but if you like fighting games, it's definitely worth a pickup or a rent.
Yeah.
I would highly suggest it.
Yes, sir. If you have an old school Sega, Super Nintendo, whatever, and you have the old games, and you haven't played it in a while, give it a go. Fire that bitch up.
And I will say I have no ties with Sony or anything, but if you want to pick up some of the old games, and if you have a PlayStation 3, I believe you can pick up the old Midway games, Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3 for cheap on the PlayStation Store.
Oh, fuck yeah. I mean, hell, if I had a PlayStation 3, I'd be all over that shit.
So if you want to play some old games, haven't played them in a while, for, like you said, if you have an old Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, definitely bust them out, because Mortal Kombat is a franchise that definitely lost its way in the middle, but have completely revamped and resurrected their brand. Mortal Kombat's not dying anytime soon, nor do I want to see that. It is still a loved brand that I still love to this day.
But yeah, very good. Couldn't have said it better myself. So, I guess that's probably just going to wrap us up for today's episode. We can go through and, revisit Legacy, I believe you said it was, here.
Legacy, Conquest, even un-Mortal Kombat related. I'm very big into video games, so we can cover any video game related movie. Let's just steer away from Super Mario Brothers, please.
Hey, that takes place in the VHS cassette era.
Oh, we'll see.
I haven't seen that movie I've seen it once when I was a kid on HBO for like 40 minutes or half hour, something like that. I haven't seen that shit in a long time.
Yeah, I think the last time I watched that, it was still on VHS.
Yeah, we'll see what we do. You'll be back on again.
Oh, for sure. I love doing these. These are definitely something I love getting into for sure.
Yeah. Well, thank you, TK, for joining us on the Latent Cassette podcast. And next week, I'm going to be covering The Mummy, starring Brandon Fraser. Going to do all three. I know the third one takes place kind of outside of the VHS timeline, but might as well, wrap it up with that.
If you're doing the trilogy, I mean, if you're doing the first two, you might as well throw the last one in there. Why the hell
Right,
not?
but no Scorpion King. Maybe do the Scorpion King series at another time, but probably not.
But I thought it was everything that The Rock does that's action-oriented is good.
Well.
Oh, no,
yeah, you're right. Early Rock might have been a little rough. I haven't seen the Scorpion King in a long time, but the best part of that movie was Kelly Hu, I would say. But
I think the best part of that movie was the credits.